Good evening, everybody. It's another day of cooking with Jim. Today we're doing quinoa with roast beef and watercress, or in this case, baby arugula. I got all my ingredients. I got my roast beef, radishes. Granted, I only need, how many radishes do I need? 2 small radishes, so I'm going to take 2 of these radishes out and then put the rest in a Ziploc bag. Mint leaves, because it calls for mint, and baby arugula. It also calls for 1/4 cup. Of course, I'm gonna have to bump this up to try to make, because the recipe is for one person, so I'm gonna have to bump it up to make enough for everybody. So that's probably gonna be yeah, about a half cup worth of quinoa that I gotta make. Instead of 4 ounces, I'm going to use about half a pound. That's probably a little bit more than 4 ounces. 4 radishes. I don't have any baby tomatoes, so there's no tomatoes in here. I forgot those. I didn't read all that stuff. Probably because my mind said tomatoes. No, I usually like tomatoes with this. Calls for 1 cup, so we're gonna do 3 cups worth of the baby arugula. I don't know how much is in here. 5 ounces. So I'm probably gonna end up using half this container worth of baby arugula. It calls for 10 mint leaves. I don't increase it to 30, otherwise, I don't know. I might give it like 20, because sometimes mom doesn't like it. Calls for 2 teaspoons. Oops, I got the wrong size. 2 teaspoons of fresh. I gotta get a teaspoon because this is a table. 2 teaspoons of fresh lemon juice, which basically I'm gonna squeeze it into this little container and then measure it. I'm gonna squeeze like 1 lemon, see how much that is, and alright, so I need a different size of this, and then a teaspoon of olive oil. So give me 1 second. I'm sorry, folks. Teaspoon, lemon squeeze up. That bowl. So the quinoa is one of the ingredients. It's the only ingredient that's actually hot. So I'm gonna wait a moment and do all the cold stuff first, because cold stuff can sit on the table and not worry about chilling. So that's telling me how to do the quinoa. Okay. So first thing I'm gonna do, which seems a little bit backwards. I forgot my lemon. So we're gonna do the lemon first. I'm just gonna turn the camera so you can see me better. Let's see here. One thing to do. Okay, wash and ready to eat. So the way they package it, they pre-wash it, so I don't really have to wash it. I'm just gonna, when I go open the container, I will look at the quinoa to see if it needs a secondary wash, and if it does, I'll give it a secondary wash. Let's go ahead and cut. Yep, don't go rolling anymore. Cut my lemon in half. Take my little red cup here. Let's see if I can. Oh, there we go. You guys can see a little bit more of what I'm doing. I love this lemon squeezer. It makes it a whole lot easier to. Alrighty. See how much juice I have out of that. Even though this lemon looks like it could be squeezed a little bit more, maybe not. Let's try repositioning the lemon. Yeah, I think I got it all out. It calls for 2 teaspoons. So let's see what we got here. That's 1. Yeah, a little bit more than 2, but that's alright. I don't mind. I love the smell and the flavor of lemons. Let me go take this other half and put it away. Little life hack. If you only use half of a whole lemon for squeezing juice out, there's 3 things you can do with it, or at least 2 that I know about. 1, get yourself a Ziploc bag, either a small sandwich or a small snack bag. Stick the lemon in there. Try to get as much air out as possible. Then you can stick this in your refrigerator for a later date, which I'll do here in a moment. The other thing is, like, lemons that you squeeze in your lemon squeezer, or the leftover parts of lemon that you're not going to basically cook or anything like that. If I knew how to make lemon franchise or chicken franchise, we slice the lemon up and cook the sliced up lemon on top of the chicken and the franchise sauce. Otherwise, the leftover pieces of lemon, such as this, we like to do this during the wintertime, is we'll throw it in a small pot of simmering water with lemon, whatever other ingredients that you want to do to make your own homemade potpourri in your house. And I'll tell you what, during the wintertime, we'll do a little bit of pot of water with some clove and cinnamon sticks and a few other little ingredients, whole spices and whatnot, into that simmering pot of water, and it smells like Christmas or baked goods throughout the holiday season. All right. Now my fingers smell like lemons, and it reminds me of, not really cleaning solutions, but there are certain fragrances in your cleaning solutions and whatnot that gives off a lemony smell. That's what my fingers now remind me of. It smells like lemon, like some sort of cleaning solution. Teaspoon of olive oil. Let's get you guys back down here. Yep. Oh, wait a minute. If I'm doubling this, I need 2 teaspoons. And all right, so, oops. So I need that other lemon back here to squeeze. I already boo-booed because I forgot that this Recipe only makes a serving of 1, and I'm trying to make a serving of 3. So I still need this lemon. Means I might have to go out and get some more ingredients just for the rest of the week. I have to check my pork chop recipe. But since I know half of a lemon is roughly 2 teaspoons of lemon, I'm just gonna squeeze the dickens out of this one. There we go. Yep. Get as much of the juice out of there. I'm just gonna go set this over here. Alright, the other, so it also says salt and pepper to taste, but because Mom's not keen on pepper and I'm not keen on a lot of salt, we're just going to leave the salt and pepper out to basically, that should be enough mint. Now what I do for the mint is first I'll gently pluck it off the leaf, off the stem. As many as the leaves as I possibly can. I forgot to bring one of my little gadgets for doing something. I'll get that here in a second. It shouldn't take more than a second to get out of the drawer. I know somebody might be looking at this going, you're wasting a couple leaves because there's still a couple leaves on the very end of the stems. Yes, I am. Because those are very small stems. Or leaves, I should say. Alright. Now my leaves, my fingers I should say, smell like lemon and mint. This is a herb grinder or herb mill. Jerry got it for me from Pampered Chef. And now that we're doing a lot more whole foods or healthy foods, this thing has come into a lot of useful needs. A lot of people say, oh, you don't want to do this to mint? Well, come on, little ball, get all that leaves underneath. Yes and no. The reason why I'm doing this is because I like to have my herbs and whatnot ground thin. I just gotta take this on. Leave this over to the side for washing for later. Ooh, the fragrances, the aromas of that. Got a whisk. It's interesting how sometimes I will forget my stuff. So you just take all that and whisk it together. Now we have to have a different set of salad tongs later on tonight. But you want your mint, your oil, and your lemon juice kind of mixed together. Just gonna set that down there. And I'm going to have to sit down to do the rest of this because, well, not really. Kind of, sort of. So we're just gonna twist you around. Now what it says to do with your dry ingredients, except for the quinoa, that will be last, because I promised Mom I would put the quinoa in a bowl separately so Mom can take a little bit of the quinoa because she doesn't like it because it gets into her dentures and causes her issues. She will eat what she can, but she tries to eat less of the quinoa and more of the roast beef and greens. So I'm not even gonna cut this. This is actually for something else. So I'm just gonna take the arugula, take a couple nice handfuls of the arugula. Yeah, that looks like more than enough for the three of us. Yes, I know it says to use so many cups per serving. In fact, for those of you who are wondering, it is for one serving, basically a cup, one full cup. That's probably more than 3 cups there. Of watercress, if you can get it. If not, you can use arugula, which is about the closest thing we have to raw watercress. So it's basically for one person. It's one cup. It's basically one cup per serving of your arugula or baby cress, or not baby cress, baby arugula or watercress. And it says 2 small radishes. So Mom's not a big fan of radishes, but oh, that's a bad one. Gotta watch out for the bad ones. Oh boy. I'm gonna have some radishes. I'm gonna have to cut into some of these radishes to see how good they are. Because I don't know how long they've been sitting in my refrigerator. But I'm gonna take out at least 6 of these guys. Nope, that's gone. That's this. And for those of you who are not radish fans, especially if you know what they taste like and you just don't like the taste of them, you can omit or leave out the radishes. We did, okay, that's still good after you cut the ends off. Right. At one point in time, we left radishes out the first time around because I was just kind of like, we don't have any radishes, but I want to try this. The second time around, we actually got radishes, and I'll be honest with you, it's a whole lot better tasting and whatnot with radishes. So, if this is just my suggestion to you, if you're not sure about radishes or you don't know if you're gonna like radishes, do yourself the favor of at least trying this dish with radishes at least once. And if you decide that the radishes are too sharp or whatnot and just really don't like radishes, like can't stand the flavor or whatnot, then go ahead and leave them out. Huh? Took you less time than I thought. I'm recording, by the way. Just FYI.
About the time.
No, go ahead.
By the time we got to RTI up here, she said, "Oh, I came directly from Walmart. I hadn't gone home. And unloaded groceries or whatever." I said, "Oh, you need," and Lee wasn't with her, so I said, "You should call Lee and have him meet you downstairs with the cart." Okay. All the way there. So she didn't call him until we got there.
Okay.
Anyway. You need help?
Not unless you want to learn how to boil quinoa.
No.
Okay. Then no, I don't really need any help.
Okay.
Ooh, this one may not be going into this. Yeah. This one's gone. That's right. As long as I have at least 4 good radishes, I'll be happy. But once you get the ends of your radishes cut off, just slice them up in nice little slices, and be mindful of your fingers, because yeah, they are hard to cut because of their shape and size. And I try to slice them fairly, you know, nice thick slices. That, you know, granted my slices aren't even, but that's just me. But the reason why I slice them instead of dice them up is so Mom can, or grade them, because I've seen people grade them, so Mom can pull them out if she doesn't want as many radishes. But all this lovely vegetation that I have here in this plate next to me will be tossed out to the critters. And I found a way to keep my raccoon out of my garbage. I just put a board over the top and laid the remnants of carpet that we're still holding on to, because we don't know if what we're going to do with them other than throw them in the garbage can. But I figured if I can weigh down the lid to keep the little rascal out, the better I'll feel. All right, once you got your radishes, your sauce, your baby arugula, you take your roast beef and you're going to slice it in strips. Ooh, this is good roast beef. It's like literally falling apart. That's the way I like it. When did I buy this? Just make sure good until August 1st. Okay. So basically, try to just, you know, slice it up where it's small, and you can. And I did not have these guys cut this. I got there to do my shopping after the deli closed, so I had to just grab their pre-sliced grab and go. And it's not always cut thick enough, but if I can get it, you know, decent size where it's not like big fat chunks or whatnot, it's this stuff is like literally falling apart, which is all right. I mean, normally I'd be like, oh man, too thin, but the way I have some picky eaters, myself included, this will be great, because then it will break up as I mix it up and then make it easier to serve, and Mom might have to cut a couple of these chunks, but see, that's like falling apart, which is, it's all right. I can't complain. You want to be able to, when you go to eat this, you want to be able to each bite have a little bit of all the different ingredients, except for maybe a radish, unless you're, like I said, if you're not a big radish fan and you want to try this with radishes, you can grate it, you can mince it, dice it, whatever, to make it as small as you want. That way you're not eating a big chunk or big slice of the radish and get all that sharpness that the radish sometimes has. All right, so we're done here. Let me just clean up my mess real quick. I better not be hearing a cricket in my house. So. Well, the sound that I'm hearing could either be Jan watching Practical Magic or something like that. And there's anyhow, there's a scene in there that has a sound like a cricket. Once you get it all chopped up, just go ahead and try to mix it up as best as possible. I don't have another set of salad tongs, so I'm using just a regular set of tongs, and I try to mix it to the point where everything gets coated by the dressing. Last time I had this, I actually felt like there was not enough dressing, but I did not want it to spoil the dish for Mom because she's picky. But I have a lemon poppy seed vinaigrette type of dressing that I pour some on top of the stuff on my plate. Now my biggest concern is all the meat's going to be on the bottom. So, okay. Now I could have had my quinoa cooking while I was doing this, but I did not want to do that because I didn't want to hear an overboilage. So we just leave that as is. Push it kind of closer to my camera because I'm going to. All right. Traveling to the stove. This part of this does take a little bit more measuring. Basically, it says here. Now I kept the recipe because it's basically basic instructions in the company name. Alrighty. Oh, that's a recipe. Okay, here we go. Instructions. Rinse quinoa thoroughly prior to cooking. So I did not realize that. Otherwise, I would have been like, oh, okay, so I need to get my little. Ow, fudge. I say this all the time. I think there's way too much stuff in my kitchen cabinets that I can't get a simple wire strainer out. Diane and I had talked about the stuff that's in the kitchen, and I said, if I'm going to be the one being the chief cook now, I want to rearrange the kitchen to my designs, but in order to do that, I have to get rid of a bunch of stuff. Alright, so that does not tell me, so hold on a second. So about half a cup. So what I need to do is get I'm going to make a little extra since I'm going to serve it separately. So you get your measurement cup depending on how much you want, 1 cup, half cup, 3 cups, whatever. You measure that amount of the quinoa, and you're not seeing what I'm doing, so give me, ooh, yeah, I might have to go back and buy some more. Oh, wait a minute, Jim. Quinoa has a fluff factor, so I am going to exactly measure it out, and I'm sorry that you're not seeing this. Alright. So basically, take your, in this case, a half cup instead of a full cup. Measure out what you want. Okay. Pour it, get your wire mesh strainer. Pour it in there. Ooh, some of it's gonna go through the wire mesh. Don't worry, I mopped my floor, or swept my floor the other day. I'll sweep it again. And just run it under water for a little while to rinse it off. My suggestion is cold water. Kind of looks weird, but it's quinoa. Yeah. Sort of, it's all over my counter. And then it says to take 2 cups worth of water. What is it? 2 cups of water and 1 cup of quinoa. So I'm gonna have a little bit more water than I need. Put that on your stove. Get that on high. Let's see here. Now it doesn't say if it to add the quinoa to the boiling water or to add the quinoa to the wild water before it boils. Alright, I'm not going to have you stand here and watch the water boil with me, so I'm going to probably shut you off and then hit record when the water starts to, or when the quinoa is getting done. It does not specify how long. Actually, let me go double check that. Usually it does. Actually, oh, let's see here. This is the book I'm using. You can find it on Amazon. Let's see here. Mix quinoa and 1 cup of water into a saucepan. So, okay. It does say to add this before it starts to boil. Now I am using my fingers. I know I probably shouldn't be, but I don't know what it is about quinoa and water and these particular strainers. They always want to stick inside the strainer. But instructions say to wash quinoa. So hopefully I got the bulk of the quinoa in there because some of it wanted to stick inside the. It says quinoa and water in half a cup of water. Oh, yeah, it's half a cup of water for a quarter cup of quinoa. That sounds about right. Bring to boil. Yeah. Okay, so it's going to take basically, according to this instructions, once it starts to boil, you lower the temperature so it simmers and cover, and it's going to take about 12 minutes to cover or until water has been absorbed. So I'm going to go ahead and shut you guys off until that happens, because don't need to be sitting here watching me for 12 minutes watch water boil. So when I'm done with the quinoa, I will turn the camera back on. So let's see what happens in a little bit. Okay, I'm sorry folks, I forgot to turn the camera on before straining it and putting it in a serving dish. But that's just regular quinoa. You can eat it straight up as is. You can mix it in with other dishes. I've heard that you can probably make this into like a quinoa porridge, but I'm not sure. But anyhow, I'm gonna bring you over the table so I can serve some real quick, and you guys can see what this looks like when it's done. Actually, I'll serve Jerry's up. Voila.